Welcome back to part 2 and the final part of the Pokemon Moon Emerald Hardcore Nuzlocke. Last time we made it all the way up to Winona, so if you haven't watched part 1, I highly suggest you go back and watch it. But anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Then I catch Yaganu the Mischievous on Route 122, High Five Ghost the Drifloon in Mount Pyre, and Gang Orca the Whalmer in the Lily Cove City Water. Then, I found this. That is a shiny. That is a shiny. Also, quick note, there are two versions of this game. One where the shiny odds are normal, the normal 1 in 8,192. And there's also another version where it's only 1%, aka 1 in 100, and I'm playing the normal version. Then, I fail my not to encounter in the Safari Zone, battle my way through Mount Pyre, battle Team Aqua Grunts, and do plot stuff. Then I head to the Team Magma base, catch Aoyama the Carbink, battle some Grunts, and make my way to Maxie and battle him. Then Team Aqua steals a submarine, so then I go over to their base, beat up some Grunts, fail to catch an Electrode, then I catch Bubble Girl the Dupe Piter on Route 125, I backtrack to Route 122 and encounter a Sharpedo, which I stupidly let Orjiro get his defense lowered twice and got killed by the Sharpedo, but I caught it and named it Bruce. Then I start training my team for Tate and Liza, so I use the Dusk Stone to evolve Yagani to Miss Magius, Bubble Girl evolves into Araquanid, and High Five Ghost evolves into Drifblim. Once I trained up my team to the level cap, I was ready for the 7th gym, with this squad. Tate and Liza lead off with Bruckfish and Slowking, as I lead off with Kaminari and Bubble Girl. Bruckfish Psychic Fangs Bubble Girl as I crunch the Slowking and do big damage, and I Leech Seed it to finish it off. Lunatone comes in as I double crunch the Lunatone, taking it out, leaving the Bruckfish out to somewhat do minimal damage to my team. After it hits me with an Aqua Tail, I double crunch the Solrock as it sets up a sunny day and it goes down. Delphox then comes in and it's looking kinda scary because of the sun boost. So I switch out Kaminari for Bruce the Sharpedo on the 2 Psychic type attacks, and then crunch the Delphox with Bubble Girl. They both decide to double team Bruce with a Flamethrower and a crunch, leaving Sharpedo at low health. However, Bubble Girl takes out the Delphox with a crunch. Their final Pokemon, Mega Gardevoir, then comes in, as I hit it with Crunch, but it doesn't do much because of the Fairy typing. Bruce Citrus Berry pops, but I still decide to switch Bruce for Yagani, but he gets double teamed and goes down immediately. I bring Bruce back in, as I Leech Life crit the Gardevoir. They heal up the Gardevoir, but Bruce gets a crit crunch, then Leech Life finishes it off. And I take down the Bruckfish with ease, winning me the battle. And with that, I get the Mind Badge. After that, I decide to evolve Sukuna into Gliscor, and I go to the space station to stop Team Magma. I obliterate some Grunts with ease, and it's time for the tag battle with Steven Stone. And I underestimate how difficult this would be. The 3 Pokemon I brought were Sukuna, Lelouch, and Bruce. While the Braviary just sat there and double teamed, Sukuna takes down the Persian with 2 acrobatics. Salazzle then comes in and Toxics me, and the Braviary double teams again. Steven's Matang goes for Psychic on the Salazzle, which is great because combined with my acrobatics, we take it down. Honchkrow then comes in and starts to Nasty Plot, as Braviary, you guessed it, double teams again. Matang misses its Metal Claw as I U-turn into Bruce and X-Scissor the Honchkrow, doing big damage, but then it swaggers me. And then Braviary, yeah. Matang Metal Claws, Honchkrow but barely lives, and then I switch into Sukuna, not wanting to hit myself, as Matang finally takes down the Honchkrow. The Braviary finally decides to go on the offensive, but neither Steven nor I were able to land many attacks. Luckily, the AI was being kinda dumb and doing things like spamming Scary Face and going for Slash on the Matang. However, that didn't last long as Bruce went down. I switch into Lelouch and Steven took down the Braviary. Alolan Persian comes in, and with 2 attacks, it goes down. Lelouch learns Leaf Blade, which is amazing, and then the last Pokemon was Zuelios. And I go for Pluck, it does a chunk, and it goes for Crunch on me. After that, I arrive in Zootopolis, catch Clammoo the Clamperl, and make my way to Team Aqua's base. I catch Camula the Zubat, battle and defeat Shelly, and make my way to Archie and battle him. Toga hits some Play Roughs on the Persian, and I get it to red health. It heals, and another Play Rough takes it out. Next up is Crocodile. I switch into Sukuna, I get hit with a Crunch, but I U-turn out into Shoto, but when it goes for a dig, I switch back out into Sukuna to dodge it. I go for another U-turn into Lord Coast and take it out with a few dives. His last Pokemon is Crobat, so I switch into Kirishima and take it down with a few hits. Then plot stuff happens, then some more plot. I catch Shinigami the Sableye in the Cave of Origin, and then met Wallace. I head over to Sky Pillar and catch Night-Eye the Bronzong, and awaken the giant Sky Serpent, and then more plot happens, and then the plot ends. I catch a few more encounters that I never use, including Cementos the Golett on Route 127, and Ricardio the Love Disc on Route 128. I spent some time training up the team for the 8th gym, and during that, Camula evolved into Golbat, and then Crobat shortly after, and after some more training, here is my squad. With that, I go to challenge the 8th and final gym leader, Juan. I lead off with Camula as he leads off with Golisopod. I hit it with an acrobatics and do decent damage, but get hit hard by a crab hammer, but I take it down with another hit. Then Kingdra comes in. I go for a Toxic for some chip damage as it sets up a rain dance. I switch into Southbird on the Ice Beam, but Kingdra outspeeds me and Dragon Pulse leaves me at 11 HP. I go for an acrobatics, doing decent damage along with the poison. However, I did not have any safe switch-ins, so I have to stay in and let Southbird go down to an Ice Beam. Next I go into Camula. Kingdra heals up to full health as I go for an acrobatics, and then the rain ends, which is great. And the poison is stacking damage, and I was able to take out the Kingdra on the next turn. Wishcash then comes in. I switch into Panda on the Ice Beam. However, it sets up a Dragon Dance. So I immediately switch into Lelouch as it sets up another one. However, it gets greedy and I go for a third one, then I take it out with a single Leaf Blade. Empoleon then comes out, so I go for another Leaf Blade to get a crit and do big damage as it Ice Beams me and does about half. But I'm able to outspeed and Leaf Blade again for the KO. Araquanid then comes in, so I switch out into Jack Mantis and eat a Crunch and retaliate with a Thunderbolt, getting it to the red. It heals, but it's no use as a few Thunderbolts takes it out. The final Pokemon is Toxopex, which 2 Thunderbolts take it down. And with that, I get the Rain Badge. After that, I make my way to Evergrande City and go up the waterfall with Gyarados, which is basically my HM slave at this point, knowing Dive, Surf, and Waterfall. But not for long, hehehe. I catch my final encounter, Cyber Dragon, the Steelix, in Victory Road. After doing some training, I finally decide to go through Victory Road. And I have my final baddie with Wally, where I play rough his Dragonair, Hammer Arm his Alolan Persian, then his Mega Gardevoir comes in, so I go into Cyber Dragon, and Dazzling Gleam does more damage than I would like. It goes for Psychic and gets a critical hit, which leaves me in the red as I go for an Iron Tail and one-shot it. Roserade comes in, but as I go for Fly, it switches into Magnezone, making High Five Ghost completely useless against it. So I go into Pony and Earthquake it to knock it out. It goes into Roserade, again as I Fly takes it out, winning me the battle. Then I start to battle my way through Victory Road, and let me tell you, these battles were rough. At one point I was facing this red wannabe guy, and his Charizard was destroying my team, and I had to resort to sacking off Cyber Dragon, but Jack Mantis took it out afterward. Then he sends out another powerful fire type, so I had to switch into High Five Ghost to sack him to get a clean switch into Camula and go for an Acrobatics. Then he sends out Ash Greninja and sets up 2 double teams, but luckily Lelouch lands a Leaf Blade and takes it out. His final Pokemon is Sceptile, which Lelouch takes down with a Fly, but this was by far the hardest battle in Victory Road for me. After this, I decided to train up the squad that includes Toga the Mimikyu, Camula the Crobat, Gyrate the Alolan Sandslash, Bubble Girl the Araquanid, Lord Coast the Gyarados, and finally, Lelouch the Decidueye. And without further ado, it's time to fight the Elite Four. Also, quick note, the level cap for the Elite Four is the last Elite Four member's highest level Pokemon, which in this case is level 57. First up is Sydney. He leads off with Crocodile as I lead off with Lord Coast. Then we both intimidate each other. I switch into Gyrate, predicting a Rock-type move as it Stone Edges and misses. I switch back into Lord Coast for another attack drop, predicting an Earthquake, but its superpowers instead, which does very little. And its attack and defense get lowered by 1, so I take this opportunity to go for a Dragon Dance as its Stone Edges, but a crit will ruin everything. But it didn't happen. So instead of getting greedy, I Waterfall the Crocodile and one-shot it. Alolan Persian then comes in and fakes me out, then I one-shot it. Incineroar then comes in, I one-shot it. Honchkar then comes in, and I one-shot it. Greninja comes in, and I almost one-shot it with Earthquake, but it lives and hits me with a Dark Pulse. It full restores as I Earthquake again. Then it full restores again as I Earthquake again. And after one more attack, I take out the Greninja. His last Pokemon is Mega Absol, and I Waterfall and one-shot it, winning me the battle. Next up is Phoebe. She leads off with Palossand as I lead off with Lord Coast again, and set up a Dragon Dance, as I get hit with Shadow Ball and my special defense gets lowered. So I decide to attack immediately with Ice Fang. I didn't use Surf because I faced a different Palossand earlier in the game that also had Water Absorb. I get it down to red health, it misses a Hypnosis. Predicting a full restore, I go for a Dragon Dance the next turn, and on the next turn I one-shot it with Ice Fang. Drifblim is next, and I one-shot it. Mega Gengar is next, and I one-shot it. Frostlass is next, and I one-shot it. Alolan Marowak is next, and I one-shot it. And finally, Dhelmise comes in, and you guessed it, I Ice Fang, one-shot it, winning me the battle. The third battle is not Glacia, but Noland from the Battle Frontier. He leads off with Alolan Dugtrio as I lead off with Lord Coast again, for the attack drop. I switch into Gyrate to bait the Rock-type move as it sets up a Sandstorm. I switch back into Lord Coast to get another attack drop and avoid the Earthquake. So I go for a Dragon Dance as it Sucker Punches me. Also, quick note, Sucker Punch does not have the same game effect in this game since it was introduced in Generation 4. And in this game, Sucker Punch does damage regardless if you go for an attacking move or not. Anyway, it goes for another Sucker Punch as I Earthquake and one-shot it. Camera joins the battle and gets destroyed by Waterfall. Flygon is next, and it stands no chance against Ice Fang. Gastrodon comes in, so I switch into the Lelouch, but on the switch in it Ice Beams me, and luckily doesn't freeze. And I'm able to obliterate it with the Leaf Blade. Torterra is up next, so I switch into Camula on the Crunch. Acrobatics does a lot, however the Torterra fires back with a crit Crunch, but another attack takes it down. Mudsdale is next, so I switch into Bubble Girl and take a Double Edge. I use Liquidation, which does big damage as I eat a Heavy Slam, and finish it off with one more Liquidation. And with that, I defeat Noland. The last Elite Four member is Drake, and he leads off with Mega Garchomp, as I lead off with Lord Coast. I get the Intimidate, then I switch into Gyrate to predict a Rock-type move, but he Swords Dances instead. So I try to attack, but he outspeeds. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, losing Gyrate is really bad, and you'll see why soon. But I go into Lord Coast, lowering his attack, and go for an Ice Fang. The freeze! The freeze! I get the freeze, so predicting a full restore, I set up one Dragon Dance and one-shot the Garchomp. Turtonator comes in, and I one-shot it with Earthquake. Alolan Executor comes in, and Ice Fang destroys it. Drampa then comes in, and it barely survives an Ice Fang as it Hyper Voices me, doing decent damage, but I finish it off with a Waterfall. Guzzlord is up next. Ice Fang does big damage, but Guzzlord fires back with Dragon Claw, leaving me at 80 health. I take a gamble and go for Ice Fang, knowing if I miss, I'd lose Gyarados. But I land it, and take down Guzzlord. His last Pokemon is Como, so I switch out into Toga as it goes for Dragon Dance. It goes for Earthquake, doing big damage as I go for the Play Rough, hoping it doesn't miss. Don't miss! Oh my goodness. If that missed. Oh my heart. My heart. Luckily, the Play Rough hit, and with that, I defeated the Elite Four. However, one more trainer remains, and I only have 5 Pokemon left. But without further ado, it's time to challenge Wallace, and commence the final battle of this run. He leads off with Alolan Ninetales, as I lead off with Bubble Girl. Also, his whole team is themed around the Fairy typing, and Alolan Sandslash would have been pretty good to have right about now. It hits me with a Dazzling Gleam as I go for Mirror Coat, dealing back double damage. It goes for Dazzling Gleam again as I go for Liquidation. After he hits me with one more attack, I'm able to defeat it. Mimikyu comes out, but I plan to sack Bubble Girl. Oh, you beast! Bubble Girl, you beast! But she was able to live one more attack and get off some good damage. I let Bubble Girl go down the next turn in order to get a clean switch into Toga. I outspeed and finished off the opposing Mimikyu with the Shadow Claw. Sylveon is up next. I go for Shadow Claw, but get infatuated by Cute Charm. Then Sylveon hits me with a Shadow Ball, bringing me down below half and lowering my special defense. I didn't want any of my members to take damage, so I stay in and take a risk. Breakthrough! Breakthrough for some more damage, please! Yes! Toga, you legend, you beast. Okay. But next turn, she sadly goes down. I send in Camila to take out the Sylveon with the Cross Poison easily. Next is Milotic. I stay in, Toxic it to whittle it down, hits me with a big Ice Beam doing lots of damage. I switch out into Lord Coast and take an Ice Beam. I realized I probably should have Cross Poisoned because I forgot Milotic was part Fairy type in this game. Milotic hits me with a powerful Moon Blast as I go for Dragon Dance. I outspeed the next turn and hit the Milotic with a powerful Earthquake, leaving it at red health with Toxic. Wallace uses a full restore as I go for Earthquake. The next turn I outspeed and take down the Milotic with one more Earthquake. Shiinotic is up next, and I go for Ice Fang. Oh my, the freeze! The freeze! Oh my, oh, he defrosted. But he Thunder Waves. Do we still have a chance? Oh my goodness, wait. I got it to very low HP, plus I got the freeze. And then it immediately defrosted, hitting me with a Thunder Wave. Then Wallace full restores again. However, I get paralyzed and the Shiinotic outspeeds, taking the MVP of the team out, Lord Coast. I send in Camila and avenge Lord Coast's death, one-shotting the Shiinotic with the Cross Poison. Wallace's last Pokemon is Rabombi. It outspeeds me and tries to set up a Quiver Dance, but Camila uses Acrobatics. A Lelouch, and you are dead! Oh my goodness! We did it! We did it, boys! We did it! Oh my goodness. We did it. With 2 Pokemon left, we have beaten the Moon Emerald Hardcore Nuzlocke! Oh my goodness. This Moon Emerald challenge has been a very fun and interesting experience. While there are some critiques I could make about the game, like the glitches, the fact that many newer Pokemon in the generation don't have their original cries, why the Hall of Fame shows an Execute instead of my Araquanid are some of the negative aspects of this game. However, overall, it was a very fun and entertaining way to explore the Hoenn region using future generation Pokemon, moves, and typings that you couldn't normally use. Also, quick note, there's something I have to confess. This was in fact the second attempt on my Nuzlocke. Yes, I redid it because I didn't get too far in the first attempt, and so between when I upload this video and my next Hardcore Nuzlocke game, I plan to make a prequel video about how I lost the first attempt, so stay tuned for that. So with that all said, I'll see you guys, and oh yeah, I'm using the same outro music as last time because it's great. Oh wait, I almost forgot. Gotta do that, and that's dupes.